Okay, productivity was going to go on forever. And does everybody remember that? Okay. Now, keep that in mind, because when you look at profits and you want to get behind profits, you've got to go to profit margins. What's the difference between a profit margin and a profit? Gesundheit. How do you get to profit margins from profits? Probably gonna say, why didn't we talk about this when we took economics? And it's, well, like I say, it wasn't on the syllabus. Okay, what's the difference between profits and profit margins? Casey?
It's profit per unit.
Profit per unit, right? So the profit margin is the profit per unit. And so what you remove from the story is the sales volume. Does everybody understand? Because if you take the profit per unit of output and then you multiply it by the sales volume, you get the total profits, right? So if you want to just get the profit per unit of output, you can do it. We're going to say, well, yeah, you can do it for an individual firm, but how do you do it for the whole economy? Let's see. And what we'll click on next is profit margins. All right, now, can everybody follow along on this? Not too hard, huh? Okay, now, what is this? This is the implicit price deflator, numerator, top half of the fraction, divided by unit labor cost, bottom half of the fraction, denominator. Okay, so you're going to say, well, what does that have to do with profit margins? Well, think about it. What's a profit margin? Well, if you're going to express it in percentage terms, it's price divided by cost. So you could say if the price is 105 and the cost is 100, well, then maybe our margins is 105. Or we could put it a little differently. If the price is 210, right, and the cost is 200, then maybe our margin is 105. That kind of thing, okay? And so what we've done is we've taken the implicit price deflator, which is a fancy name for the rate of inflation as measured by the gross domestic product. And we've divided it by unit labor costs, which the Bureau of Labor Statistics calculates, which is the cost per unit of output throughout the economy. Okay? And all we've done here is taken a look at the index for each and divided one by the other. So there's an index for prices and there's an index for costs. Everybody get it? Index for prices, index for costs. Now, just suppose they moved in lockstep. Suppose they moved in lockstep. Suppose price went up by cost, suppose price went up by 5% and cost went up by 5%. Suppose price went down by 10% and cost went down by 10%. Does everybody understand? They move in lockstep. If you divided one by the other, what number would you always get? 1. Multiply it by 100 to get a percent, you always get 100%. In other words, if the price and the cost always moved in the same direction, you get a flat line across that screen at 100. Now, does everybody understand that intuitively? Because if you don't, raise your hand and we should talk about it a little. Does everybody understand? If the prices and costs always moved, not were the same, but they always moved the same, which is what we're measuring, then we get a straight line across, which would be flat. And so obviously, Cheta,
yes.
Obviously, if price rises more rapidly than cost, which way is that line going to head?
North.
Exactly. And if costs rise more rapidly than price, Josh, which way is the line going to go?
Down.
Thank you. Okay. Everybody get it? South. Does everybody see? Now, you can say, okay, well, it looks kind of boring. It kind of fluctuates between 94 and 1 or something. Does everybody see that? And then what happened in the late 90s or the 90s? What happened? It broke out of that range. And what do we call that? The new economy.
Boom.
Does everybody get it? That's the new economy that everyone's talking about. Everyone's saying, oh, this is a breakthrough in productivity. Now, when an economist talks about productivity, of course, an economist means output per unit of input, right? But you don't have to get fancy. We'll get fancy later on what all that means. But even if you just think of the concept of efficiency, it kind of conjures it up. And so with all we talked about, we were going to take orders electronically, we're going to communicate between business firms electronically, all that was efficiency. It was going to lead to a breakthrough in profits and everything.